So this is the tinp. This is not pantomime podcast, and it's for me personally, it's a 30-hour learning exercise. Why is it a 30-hour learning exercise? Because I read or seen somewhere that you can learn anything in 30 hours. And the process basically is within the first 30 hours of learning something is when all the neural pathways and connections are made. So within the first 30 hours, these little electrons have fired off into your brain, and they're making connections between different parts of your brain. And then once the connections are established, then all you do is practice to strengthen them and build on these pathways. So I think I've done about 5 hours so far, or I'm like in the 5th hour.
Yeah.
And there's like I've had a bit of time off doing them for reasons we can get into a bit later, but I just wanted to get this conversation out there about basically this sort of food crisis situation that we're in the midst of at the moment. And it's all the farmers are protesting. There's people living in squalor and poverty in the urban areas, and I'm not seeing it anywhere. But why isn't the conversation being had that we should be getting the people and the farmers to unite and start to repair the landscape in the countrysides? Everywhere you look around England and the world, in fact, is just empty, dead landscapes which have got no life in them. They've got no plants in them. There's no food being grown. In most cases, farmers are being paid not to grow food, and it's just a no-brainer logical solution for me is get the people. Because I know tons of people, everyone I speak to these days, they're all looking for land. They want to be growing their own food, raising their own animals, building their own homes, drinking clean water, fresh air, and they want to escape the prisons, basically, which we call cities. So I left nearly 10 years ago, and things were looking bad then. I started to feel like there was a prison being built around me, and just more gang activity, and like I say, that was nearly 10 years ago now. So we could resettle the land, basically, make little settlements, communities on all the empty land, on all the empty hillsides in England, and just make a better life for ourselves. And even the farmers now, what's going on, the protests, you hear things like they're all going out protesting all over Europe, but then when they go home, they're being targeted. So like they're going home back to the house in the night, and then they're being arrested when there's no one there to back them up. So it like we were saying, this is Neil, this is my dad growing up, so he's come with me today. But let's talk about what's going on in the cities at the moment, and then we can go into some solution based stuff. So things were looking bad when I was there. I remember living in Egbert in Liverpool, and within like weeks of each other, there was 3 people got killed. Some guy in a charity shop got chopped up by some guy who was just being let out of a mental institution, and he'd been took off his medication. There was another guy who got out of prison and was looking for revenge and shot someone round by the waterfront from where he lived. And then there was some other murder of similar situation where they were getting off these antipsychotic medication, and they just lost the plot and went and maimed or killed someone, basically. So you left. You've been with us now all the way through the winter, and things you came here saying things are looking bad. Go into that a little bit.
I can speak mostly for the NHS. Is absolutely inundated. I've seen it for myself. Not long, maybe a few days before I came down here in November, I visited one of the main hospitals, the Royal Liverpool Hospital in Liverpool. I got there basically to 7 o'clock in the evening. Because I've been referred to through my doctor to actually go there, not just off my own accord, to see what it was like. As I said, I got there for 7 o'clock. I got seen to by the triage within 2 hours, and then I waited all night until like the next day, and about 5 o'clock in the morning I got seen to again by the triage. the nurses and doctors had a changeover at about 9 o'clock in the morning. I was still sitting there waiting to be seen. So I called up to the reception to see what was going on. And then I was told that I had to wait a further 6 hours. I could not obviously wait that long anyway, because I was on strong painkillers. I was getting pains and stuff through my body. So I had to leave without being unseen. So I can tell you from, you know, like an eyewitness as myself, obviously it's absolutely up the wall, inundated, and it's only getting worse. The NHS can't withstand the amount of people, and what I would have to say is it's more overpopulated in the past so many years than what it's ever been. And as I say, I'm almost 58 now. I've lived there all my life, so I do know the difference from growing up and seeing the population around me. Things are getting worse. All the supermarkets are so happy to build a Lidl and Aldi's and all the Asda's and Tesco's, and that might be fine for people there. All the farmers, mostly what I've seen around the nice areas in Ormskirk and Lydiate and all the nice places, have been told to grow turf, which obviously that's fine for anybody having a garden, but it's not putting the produce for the people, as in the shops. They're relying on all these big companies, the fat cats that's come in, like I've just said, Lidl and Aldi, as their Tesco and all, like the B&Ms and the Poundlands. That might be fine for people, but as for the farmers themselves, they're up in arms, and I can understand why.
Yeah, so one of the solutions that we're thinking of is, like I was saying, people want to be living in a more harmonious with nature type way, where they're growing their own food. You all right, dude? I'm just making a video. I'll be out now. That's my son trying to open the door.
Yeah.
Hang on, dude. Yeah, I want to continue this conversation. Basically, this is going to be a short video today, just to get it out there. But it makes sense to me that you know, a way to deal with most of the world's issues, poverty, pollution, you know, illness, mental illness, is bringing the people and the farmers and landowners together. Try and lose this mentality of it's mine mentality. You know, the world is ours to live in, and if it's not being utilised the way it should be, we all have a responsibility to step in and start to repair the damage that's been done, and then start to create a state of abundance and prosperity for all of us. As far as I'm concerned, like even 10 years ago, like I was saying, the cities are finished. You know, they're just being built up prisons, they're full of surveillance, they're being basically overpopulated and crammed in, and they're making life hellish for everyone.
Overpoliced.
Overpoliced, yeah.
I can say about the big thing about Merseyside, Liverpool alone, with actually living there. There's more police becoming more vigilante for just stopping people for simple things, taking them away for the night, watching them in the cells. There's been a lot about the police. The uprising of what I've seen is the young kids leaving school who've got no future prospects of getting a job, going to college, going to university, all arriving in small gangs around areas. That looks like to me that's only going to be the stand, obviously against the police, not their own people themselves, because everybody else seems to be just like getting on with it and sort of like used to it. Everything's getting privatised. The private landlords took over a lot of areas where there's council lands and bought them all up, which is pushing people onto the streets. I've never seen so many homeless people in the past couple of years than what I have in all the life I've lived there in Liverpool, and that's getting worse.
Yeah, I just thinking about the couple of years before I left. I was working in Manchester, and I'd be going to work in a restaurant at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they'd be literally homeless people getting scraped up. This was through the winter as well. Old homeless people getting scraped up off the floor and into the back of whatever they call them, ambulances and whatnot. It was horrific. And even then, yeah, I was thinking it's finished. You know, there's no need for that to happen. the cities are overpopulated, yeah, but the world is not overpopulated. There's so much empty land that is not being used correctly, and like I was saying, we are obliged and we have a responsibility to do the right thing, which is provide food and shelter and care for people. You know, we could be making our own herbal medicines and ailments and just getting good wholesome practices where we've got our hands in the soil, our families are living together and growing up together, learning about the world, learning about the natural world, and having a connection to source also. So these are all the things that I'm proposing, and let's have a conversation. How do we start the conversation with farmers to start resettling the lands? And we were talking earlier about, farmers now are getting if they're joining these protests, and when they're going home they're getting targeted and arrested when they get home. If you've got settlements on the land with 100 people or a couple of hundred people, there's thousands and thousands of acres out there. If anyone starts turning up at the gate trying to arrest you in your house, you farmer, then you've got 100 to 300 people there to go and stand with you at the gate and put a stop to this absolute insanity. So that's like I say, I want to keep this video short. I'm glad to have you here. You're going back up there, aren't you?
I'm afraid I'm going back to the big, I call it the Illuminati, because of what's happening around. The rich are getting richer, the poor are not so much getting poorer. But as I've said about the poor people who can't afford what the rich people can, they're getting their noses rubbed into it. And all I can say is let all the people get together and join what they had many years ago before the privatisation has come in and actually taken over.
Join Team Humanity. I always say I'm the eternal optimist, and I think we can do this, man. So let's get the conversation going and see where we can go with it. I'll see you next time.
Bye, folks.